Hi everyone, I'm Ava Williams, a 28-year-old marketing executive at a major tech company in Seattle, and I have a story to share with you all. Just another busy Monday at work. Emma called from her desk next to mine. Ava, you seriously need to see these analytics reports. The client meeting is in an hour. My phone lit up with a message from James. Hey beautiful, dinner tonight? Got something special planned. That something special turned out to be the most amazing proposal at our favorite Italian restaurant. James got down on one knee, and I couldn't stop crying happy tears. You're the love of my life, Ava. Will you marry me? Yes, 1,000 times yes. I jumped into his arms, not caring that everyone in the restaurant was watching. Emma squealed when I showed her the ring the next day. It's gorgeous, girl, but did James pick this out himself, or did Patricia help? Why do you say it like that? I replied, just have you noticed how his mom always has to be involved in everything? Remember when she accidentally showed up at your anniversary dinner? I brushed it off then, but Emma had a point. Within a week of our engagement, Patricia was already taking over. Darling, I've already called the Westbrook Hotel. They are holding their grand ballroom for us, she declared. But Mrs. Reynolds, James and I were thinking of a garden wedding. I replied, oh sweetie, outdoor weddings are so casual, and please call me Mom. My own mom, Diana, noticed my stress during our weekly lunch. Baby, you're not looking happy for someone who just got engaged. Mom, I don't know what to do. Patricia's steamrolling every decision. She even tried to pick my wedding planner. You know I raised you alone after your father left, and I taught you to stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone rob you of your joy. Things got more complicated when James and I started house hunting. Honey, why look at downtown apartments? Patricia interrupted our conversation. There's a lovely house next to us in the suburbs. Mom, Ava's office is downtown, James replied, but his voice lacked conviction. Later that night, I confronted James gently. Babe, I notice you rarely disagree with your mom. She just wants what's best for us, Ava. She's always been there for me. But shouldn't we make our own decisions? Emma's words from earlier that day echoed in my head. Ava, I love you, but you need to open your eyes. This is just the beginning. If you don't set boundaries now, Patricia will control your entire marriage. Looking at James's conflicted face as he checked another message from his mom, I felt my stomach twist. I was madly in love with him, but Patricia's shadow seemed to loom larger every day. The woman even had opinions about what coffee maker we should register for. As I lay in bed that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that my dream engagement was slowly turning into something else entirely. It's totally normal to have mother-in-law drama, I told myself, but deep down, I knew this was different. This was just the tip of the iceberg, and I had no idea how right I was. Black is much more appropriate for someone with your history. Patricia's words echoed through the bridal boutique. My hands trembled as I clutched the white lace gown I'd been dying to try on. What exactly are you implying? My voice shook with anger. Well, darling, I've heard about your college years, 3 boyfriends. White is for pure brides. The boutique owner's jaw dropped. My mom started to speak up, but Patricia cut her off. Diana, perhaps you should have provided better guidance. Single motherhood must have been challenging. I called James immediately after, tears streaming down my face. Your mother just humiliated me in front of everyone. Baby, I'm sure she didn't mean it that way. Mom's just traditional. Traditional? She's telling people. I'm not pure enough for a white dress. Later that week, Emma rushed into my office, her face pale. Ava, you need to see this. I was double-checking the vendor contracts when I saw it. They're all canceled. What? How? Someone called, claiming to be your wedding planner. They used Patricia's email address. Emma explained, her voice shaking. My phone buzzed with a message from Robert, James's dad. Ava, we need to discuss the prenup Patricia suggested. It's just business. James and I had never discussed a prenup. That evening, I discovered something far worse. Screenshots of my private Instagram messages circulating among James's relatives. Messages from years ago, taken completely out of context. Did you see what Ava said to her ex in 2019? Patricia's group text read, James deserves better than someone so disrespectful. I confronted James. Your mother's spreading lies about me. She's just protective, Ava. Protective. She's monitoring my social media, canceling our vendors, and now this. The final straw came during the rehearsal dinner planning. Patricia was reviewing the guest list with the coordinator when I overheard her say, "Oh, Diana William? No, she's not attending. Remove her." I stormed in. "You're trying to uninvite my own mother." "Well, dear, it's a sophisticated event. We need to maintain certain standards." I turned to James, desperate for support. "Maybe we could compromise." "Compromise?" I snapped. "She's alienating my mother, spreading lies about me, and trying to force me into a black wedding dress. When will you stand up to her?" Patricia smiled that condescending smile. "James knows I only want what's best for him. Unlike some people, I've always put my son first." I looked at James, waiting for him to defend me. His silence spoke volumes. "You know what?" I grabbed my purse. "Keep your black dress and your prenup. I need time to think." As I drove away, my phone exploded with messages from Patricia sent to the family group chat. "See, she's unstable, just like I warned everyone." Emma called immediately. "Girl, this is beyond toxic. I've been doing some digging, and you won't believe what I found about Patricia." She slid a folder over to me. "Look what I found digging through public records." My hands shook as I read through the documents. Patricia had been controlling the family's trust fund, limiting Robert and James's access while freely using it herself. "Your father-in-law-to-be has to ask permission for his own money," Emma explained. I scrolled through more files. "And those loans James gets, they're his own inheritance." There was more. 3 other ex-girlfriends had reached out after my social media post. "Listen to this text," one of them wrote. "Patricia told everyone I was cheating. I lost all my friends." I marched into James' office that afternoon, evidence in hand. "Babe, we need to talk. Now." I spread out the messages, documents, and photos. "Your mom destroyed all your past relationships. Here's proof. She's doing the same thing to me." James's face went pale as he read through it. "This can't be. Mom wouldn't." His phone rang. Patricia's name lit up the screen. I grabbed his hand. "Don't answer it. For once, just listen to me." Tears formed in his eyes. "All these years, she said she was protecting me." "She's controlling you, James. She's using your inheritance as a leash. But she's my mother." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was the wedding venue. "Is this Miss William? We received a cancellation request from your mother-in-law." "What?" "No, don't cancel anything." James overheard and finally snapped. "She's canceling our venue now without even asking us." "That's not all." I pulled up the trust fund documents. "She's been controlling your money, your relationships, your whole life." James slumped in his chair. "I know she's difficult, but how do I just cut off my own mother?" "I'm not asking you to cut her off," I said softly. "I'm asking you to stand up to her, to choose us." His phone kept ringing. Patricia again. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered. "Until you decide what you want, the wedding's postponed." "Ava, please. No. I love you." "James," I said, tears in my eyes, "I can't be part of this." "But I won't marry into this manipulation." She tried to force me into a black dress, spread lies about me, tried to exclude my mother, and now she's canceling our venue. Where does it end? "Let me talk to her," James said softly. "That's all you ever do, talk. She steamrolls right over you every time." I shot back. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Patricia. "Darling, I canceled that tacky venue. Mommy found something much better." James stared at the message, then at me. I could see the battle in his eyes. Decades of manipulation versus the truth staring him in the face. "Choose James," I said quietly. "But remember, if you let her win this time, you'll lose me forever." I walked out of his office, my heart breaking but my head held high. The ball was in his court now. Emma was waiting outside, her face lighting up when she saw me. "You did the right thing. Look what else I just found about Patricia's charity foundation." Emma opened her laptop, showing me the numbers. "The charity foundation's finances don't add up," she explained, pointing to suspicious transfers to offshore accounts, all authorized by Patricia. My phone buzzed again. It was James. "Started therapy last week. Doc says mom's behavior is textbook narcissistic control. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner." "That's great, babe," I replied. "I'm proud of you." Emma interrupted my thoughts. "Ava, it gets worse. The foundation money, most of it, went to high-end casinos in Vegas. Within weeks, everything unraveled. Robert discovered credit card statements showing Patricia's massive gambling debts. She'd been embezzling from the foundation to cover her losses. James's voice echoed in my mind as I read. My whole life is a lie. She controlled everything, my money, my relationships, even my career choice. The foundation board meeting was explosive. Mrs. Reynolds, can you explain these unauthorized transfers? Someone asked. Patricia's carefully maintained facade cracked. How dare you question my integrity? I built this foundation. But the evidence was irrefutable. The board chairman announced, "We're launching a full investigation and contacting the authorities." That evening, the local news ran the story. Prominent socialite Patricia Reynolds under investigation for charity fraud. The next day, Robert filed for divorce. She gambled away our savings, he told James. I'm done. The country club canceled Patricia's membership. Her society friends stopped taking her calls. Her carefully crafted world crumbled. 6 months later, I walked down the aisle in my dream white dress, my mom beaming from the front row. James stood tall, finally free from his mother's shadow. You look pure and perfect, he whispered as I reached him. Patricia wasn't there. She was too busy meeting with her criminal defense lawyers. We honeymooned in Hawaii. While the headlines read, Patricia Reynolds pleads guilty to embezzlement. The last I heard, she's facing jail time. Her friends abandoned her. Robert's divorce settlement left her nearly broke, and her reputation was in ruins. Meanwhile, James and I bought our dream downtown apartment. He's thriving in therapy, setting healthy boundaries. I got promoted to marketing director. You know what's funny? James said last night, showing me another news article about his mom's downfall. She tried to control everything so tightly, she ended up losing it all. While we're here, happier than ever. I smiled, thinking about our journey. That's the thing about toxic people. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well and letting karma do its job. The headline on his phone read, Disgraced socialite Patricia Reynolds sentenced in multi-million-dollar charity fraud case. Karma indeed. What would you have done if your future mother-in-law demanded you wear a black wedding dress, claiming you weren't pure enough for white? Would you have stood your ground immediately, or tried to keep the peace for your partner's sake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.